unemployment rate nitong Hunyo 2022 ay nananatili sa 6.0% o 60 sa bawat 1,000 na individual na nasa labor force ang walang trabaho o negosyo. Nitong Hunyo 2022, ang employed persons o bilang ng may mga trabaho o negosyo ay naitala sa 46.59 million. I suppose you will be looking for a job if you need to augment your household income to cover the minimum expenditure.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time, I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Sean Yao. The big story tonight.
The number of unemployed Filipinos inched up in June as job seekers joining the labor force increased.
But the unemployment rate remained steady while job quality in the country improved. Shaila Francisco with the big story.
2.99 million. That's the number of Filipinos that are jobless in June, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. This is about 62,000 higher than the 2.93 million in May, but also 781,000 lower than the 3.77 million recorded in the same month of 2021. Among the sectors with the biggest drop in employment in a month included wholesale and retail trade, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles, and manufacturing, among others. The PSA noted that these sectors were those greatly affected by the rising inflation.
Ito yung parang mga non-essentials, no, na items na baka dahil nga siguro sa paghigpit sa budget ay medyo bumawas yung ating consumption dito, kaya nabawasan din yung bilang ng may trabaho.
Still, the unemployment rate remained at 6%, with more Filipinos joining the labor force. The PSA recorded more than 500,000 Filipinos who went to look for jobs.
I suppose you will be looking for a job if you need to augment your household income, no, to cover the minimum expenditure.
Job quality, meanwhile, improved, with many workers being employed on a full-time basis. Underemployment back in June was at 12.6%. A significant decline from May's 14.5%. The PSA noted that the improvement comes from those who either wanted higher earnings or were required by their employers to add more hours amid the further reopening of the economy. The agency says it is optimistic that the labor sector will improve, especially with the resumption of face-to-face classes. In a statement, the National Economic and Development Authority agrees that face-to-face classes will be beneficial to the labor market. They say that this will not only increase domestic activities, but also prevent productivity losses. As for inflation, NEDA says it will prioritize the immediate issues of rising inflation to ensure employment gains are sustained. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
So Robbie, I remember right last month we were talking about unemployment hitting this, and you were actually afraid that what with the slew of new graduates flooding the job market, what would happen? So it's pretty much unchanged, but that's also like still a lot of
well, two things we're parsing through here, di ba? Unemployment, yung talagang walang trabaho, I mean, that's inched up a bit. But underemployment, which means people, and that's one of the things that we were talking about before, di ba? People who want to work some more, they don't necessarily have to look for other lines of work, but it's the office, it's the workplace that's limiting their options.
Yes, they're unable to give them as much working hours as they
Nabibitin sila,
need.
but that is where we're seeing a slight improvement. But anyway, let's see. Here to share his insights on the state of the country's labor force, Attorney Sunny Matula. He is the National President of the Federation of Free Workers, as well as the Chairperson of the Nagkaisa Labor Coalition. Attorney Matula, welcome to the big story.
Hi, magandang gabi, Ruby, at magandang gabi, Sean. Salamat sa pag-imbita ninyo sa Federation of Free Workers at sa Nagkaisa Labor Coalition na makasama kayo ngayong gabi.
Attorney Matula, ano po reaction nyo dito sa latest figures natin sa unemployment at underemployment?
Nakita natin na mayroong pagbabago, although maliit lang na pagbabago sa ating pang-empleo sa Pilipinas. Bumaba konti yung mga walang trabaho. Pero nakita natin na yung trend ay parang wala masyadong modification, no? Yung marami pa rin mga kababaihan ang walang trabaho, 7% ata kung titingnan mo yung data ng Philippine Statistics Authority. At nakikita natin na hindi lang siguro yung numero na pinakita ng PSA, pero titingnan din natin yung mga may trabaho na hindi pumapasok pa. So marami pa rin yun na may trabaho na hindi pumapasok. At siyempre yung kalidad ng trabaho, yung maraming kontraktual at yung mga Indo workers na sa kasalukuyan ay ilang taon na may nasa regular na trabaho pero yung kanilang status sa kanilang panarabaho ay kontraktual pa rin at may mga term na may mga termino, 5 buwan, pinaikot-ikot lang sila o so umiikot sila sa ibang mga agency.
Talaga naman pong masalimuot. Alam natin maraming pag-uusapan pagdating sa trabaho. Pero doon muna tayo sa mga numero. Saan po tayo nabibitin sa pag-generate ng trabaho?
Yung mga sektor na tinamaan talaga ng pandemya ay hindi pa rin nakabangon. Katulad halimbawa yung sa wholesale ang retail trade na nabawasan pa nga ng higit na 1 milyon na mga manggagawa. Yung manufacturing natin, yung accommodation na food service activities ay nababawasan pa ng tao. Yung mga transportation and storage natin, yung financial and insurance. Kami may mga union sa transportation, may mga maraming bus pa at maraming mga manggagawa ang hindi nag-ooperate at hindi nakabalik pa sa trabaho.
Sir Sonny, magbabalik na po ang pasukan mga August 22 later this month and full face-to-face classes hopefully by November. Ano po ang magiging impact nito or may magiging impact ba ito sa ating mga figures?
Oo, malaking tulong yan. Nag-agree ako kay Secretary Balisacan na ito ay makapag-stimulate ulit ng ating ekonomiya ang pagbubukas ng klase. Pero we urge the government to adopt a stimulus package. Ang aming proposal nga dyan ay 100 billion package para mabuhay ulit yung ating mga micro, small and micro enterprises kasi kinakailangan talaga nila ng tulong para makabangon, makapagbigay ng mga salaries at benepisyo sa ating mga manggagawa. So kinakailangan pa rin yun, maski sa kasalukuyan na sitwasyon, ay kinakailangan yung 100 billion stimulus package.
Bukod sa subsidy, Sir Sonny, ano pa ba ang pwedeng maitulong ng gobyerno? Kasi yung subsidy, baka pwede nilang sabihin na this cannot go on forever. So ano pa ang ibang polisiya na pwedeng gawin or i-draw up ng gobyerno para ma-address ang unemployment at underemployment?
Napalaking yung ating sektor kasi sa kasalukuyan, ang nagbibigay lamang ng malakas na empleo ay yung serbisyo, di ba, 56.5%. Pero yung ating agrikultura at yung industriya ay kulang ata ang development dito. Kaya sa ngayon kami sa kasalukuyang tutok ng gobyerno na yung ating agrikultura ay tutukan at imoderno ito. So isa yan sa pamamaraan. At syempre, nakakatulong din yung foreign investment, lalo-lalo na sa manufacturing. Yung aming tinitingnan dito, yung ating agrikultura ay dapat nakakonect sa industriya, yung tinatawag na agro-industrialization, sapagkat yan po ay makapagbibigay ng malawak at maraming trabaho sa ating mga manggagawa.
Kasani, tama po ba pagkakarinig ko sa inyo? Parang nabanggit nyo kanina kababaihan. I wasn't sure if you said kababaihan o mga kababayan natin. But I think you said kababaihan. Tama po ba ang pagkakaintindi ko na iba pa ang sitwasyon or at least mas mabagal ang sitwasyon pagdating sa mga kababaihan sa pagtaas o pagbalik ng mga trabaho para sa ating mga kababaihan? Ano po nangyayari dito?
Yung sa statistika na pinakita ng PSA ata, yung mga lalaki na walang trabaho ay mga 5.4%. pero yung mga kababaihan ay 6.9%. So mataas yung unemployment ng mga kababaihan. Ano? Yan siguro ay dahil na yung double burden nila na marami silang okupasyon kaya hindi agad nakabalik sa trabaho, hindi nakapasok sa mga trabaho.
Alright, Sir Sonny, isang tanong na lang, no, na parang nabanggit nyo rin yung foreign investment nga into some sectors. I think last Congress, medyo na-liberalize na nila yung ibang sektor. Do you really think with foreign investors, this will generate more jobs for Filipinos? Which is yun naman talaga yung pakay nila, I think, with opening up the economy a bit.
Maliban sabi ko sa yung kanina, dapat ang gobyerno may provide ng investment to pagbibigay ng itong stimulus package. Pero napaka-importante rin naman talaga yung foreign investment na maka-entice ang ating ang gobyerno. Ngayon ay Agosto na at nakikita namin na wala masyadong excitement ata ang mga foreign investor na pumasok sa Pilipinas. Siguro dapat ang ating gobyerno ay gumawa ng paraan na maging kaya-aya yung pagpunta ng direct investment sa ating bansa.
Okay, maraming salamat po. Federation of Free Workers National President Sunny Matula. Join us in the conversation. Our big question tonight, how can government generate more jobs? Share your thoughts on our Facebook and YouTube live stream or post a tweet with the hashtag #TheBigStory. We will read some of your comments later on in the program. More stories after the break. Keep it here on One News.
A key sector in our transformation plans is that of energy. Another fundamental requirement for growth and increased employment will be the availability of cheap, reliable energy. This even comes under the category of ease of doing business. If we are to attract investors, both local and foreign, to set up shop here in the Philippines. At present, our demand for energy far exceeds our reliable supply. We must increase the level of energy production. We must look at every possible option that would be appropriate for the Philippine situation. There is some room to expand our present power supply through existing power sources, but this is only to a very limited extent. We must build new power plants. We must take advantage of all the best technology that is now available, especially in the areas of renewable energy. Our search for new power sources should always be with an eye to improving the mix of the energy supply between traditional and renewable sources. The technology on renewable energy is progressing rapidly, and many of these technologies are appropriate for the Philippines. I believe that it is time also to re-examine our strategy towards building nuclear power plants in the Philippines. We will comply, of course, with the International Atomic Energy Agency regulations for nuclear power plants as they have been strengthened after Fukushima. In the area of nuclear power, there have been new technologies developed that allow smaller scale modular nuclear plants and other derivations thereof. Once again, PPPs will play a part in support as funding in this period is limited. To my fellow Filipinos, ang aking mga minamahal na kababayan, batid ko na hindi madali ang ating pinagdaraanan sa nakaraang higit na 2 taon. Alam ko rin na ang bawat isa sa inyo ay ginagawa ang lahat ng inyong makakaya upang patuloy na harapin ang lahat na pagsubok sa kasalukuyan. I do not intend to diminish the risks and the challenges that we face in this turbulent time in global history. And yet, I see sunlight filtering through these dark clouds. We have assembled the best Filipino minds to help navigate us through this global crisis. We will endure. Let our Filipino spirit ever remain undimmed. I know this in my mind. I know it in my heart.
You're watching the big story here on One News. President Bongbong Marcos is reminding the PNP that their use of force must be reasonable and justifiable, as more than 6,000 drug suspects were allegedly killed during the last administration's war on drugs. Marlene Alcaide with the story.
President Bongbong Marcos visited the headquarters of the Armed Forces and the Philippine National Police on Monday. Marcos Jr. first attended the 121st Police Service Anniversary celebration at Camp Crame. During the event, the president warned the police about the use of force in their operations.
The use of force must always be reasonable, justifiable, and only undertaken when necessary. It is a must that the application of your mandate is firmly grounded on moral principles, integrity, accountability, and honesty to ensure continued public rapport and support.
He also told the police that execution of authority must be fair and that they should not allow dishonesty in their work. The president also expressed his confidence in the new PNP chief. For his part, PNP Chief General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. vowed to address issues primarily those concerning peace and order and illegal drugs.
We implemented even more strongly our enhanced managing police operations programs against criminality and introduced the PNP Campaign Plan Double Barrel Finale Version 2022.
PNP data shows more than 6,000 drug suspects were allegedly killed during the last administration's war on drugs. These incidents were subject of the ICC's planned investigation, but the president had already said that the country won't rejoin the ICC. After this, the president went straight to the AFP change of command ceremony. AFP Chief of Staff Bartolome Bacaro replaced General Andres Centino. Bacaro is a Medal of Valor awardee and a graduate of the PMA Maringal class of 1988. He will be the first AFP Chief of Staff to serve for a fixed 3-year term under the newly enacted Republic Act 11709. This means the new Chief of Staff will be in service even if he has reached the mandatory retirement age of 56 years old. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has reaffirmed Washington's commitment to its defense pact with the Philippines. JC Cosico with the report.
U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken met with President Bongbong Marcos at the Malacanang Palace on Saturday. During the meeting, Marcos emphasized the importance of the country's relationship with Washington amid changing regional and global landscape with recent tensions between China and Taiwan, as well as Ukraine and Russia. The president also said he wants the relationship between the U.S. and the Philippines to continue evolving.
This just points to the fact of the importance of the relationship between the United States and the Philippines. I hope that we will continue to evolve that relationship in the face of all the changes that we have been seeing and the changes that are between in our bilateral relationship.
Blinken, for its part, reaffirmed the commitment of the U.S. to the Mutual Defense Treaty with the Philippines.
The alliance is strong, and I believe can grow even stronger. We're committed to the Mutual Defense Treaty. We're committed to working with you on shared challenges.
For Marcos, while the MDT is in constant evolution, the two countries remain closely tied with one another. The U.S. official meanwhile described its relationship with the Philippines as, quote, quite extraordinary. Blinken said the U.S. wants to deepen its ties with the country under the Marcos administration.
It is really founded in friendship. It's forged as well in partnership, and it's strengthened by the fact that it's an alliance as well. The people ties between us are almost unique, and it's something that we tremendously value in the United States, just as I know you do here.
Blinken is also set to meet with Foreign Affairs Chief Enrique Manalo and drop by the U.S. Embassy in Manila. Recall in a statement on Friday, Blinken said he is looking forward to reinforcing the strong U.S.-Philippine relationship and both countries' shared commitments to democracy, human rights, rule of law, security, and prosperity. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
We will pause for a short break. Keep it here on One News.
To my fellow Filipinos, ang aking mga minamahal na kababayan, batid ko na hindi madali ang ating pinagdaraanan sa nakaraang higit na 2 taon. Alam ko rin na ang bawat isa sa inyo ay ginagawa ang lahat ng inyong makakaya upang patuloy na harapin ang lahat na pagsubok sa kasalukuyan. I do not intend to diminish the risks and the challenges that we face in this turbulent time in global history. And yet, I see sunlight filtering through these dark clouds. We have assembled the best Filipino minds to help navigate us through this global crisis. We will endure. Let our Filipino spirit ever remain undimmed. I know this in my mind. I know it in my heart. I know it in my very soul. The state of the nation is sound. As for the horror stories that we have heard about the poor quality of educational materials and supplies that are being given to our schools, this must end.
You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. The action-packed PBA Philippine Cup semis continued over the weekend, with the San Miguel Beermen gaining a 2-1 lead over the Meralco Bolts. The TNT Tropang Giga, meanwhile, escaped defeat in their match against Magnolia thanks to Jason Castro. Marty Bautista with the details.
Basketball fans were at the edge of their seats during the semifinal showdown of the PBA Philippine Cup at the Smart Araneta Coliseum on Sunday night. The matchup between TNT Tropang Giga and Magnolia Hotshots was a real nail-biter. Tied at 90 all with just a few more seconds to go, the Hotshots took control of the game thanks to Mark Baroca's jump shot.
Baroca now on the move. Nice fake.
Basket! What a move!
Just when Magnolia thought they had it in the bag, Jason Castro took his chances with a three at the last 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Oh!
The final score was 93-92 in favor of the defending champions. TNT Tropang Giga is now sitting with a 2-1 record in the best-of-7 series. Head coach Chot Reyes admits that the win did not come easy, but he says achieving it is a matter of shifting their focus.
And in game 2, Magnolia had 20 more possessions than we had, and you cannot win a game that way. So our focus, in fact, we had written it on our board today, was possessions. We're not going to hit every shot that we have, but as long as we give ourselves chances. Parang life lang yan, di ba? Parang buhay. Basta as long as you have a chance, all you want is to get a chance. And so for us, that comes in the form of possessions.
The same height in action was also witnessed in Game 2 between the San Miguel Beermen and the Meralco Bolts. CJ Perez held the Beerman at his back behind his 26 points on attack. But it was the Kraken, Junmar Fajardo, that served as the backbone for San Miguel in the final half. Fajardo bodied through scratches, shoves, and a number of fouls to make an impact for his team with a double-double of 21 points and 16 rebounds. Despite the heavy defense on the big man, he says he's just happy to come out with a win.
Okay naman. Na-expect ko naman yun eh. So, inaanda ko yung katawan ko para sa physical. Hindi ko na kailangan mag-complain. Trabaho na ng referee yun. So, kailangan ko lang mag-focus sa game. Kung paano ako makatulong sa team.
Game 4 of the semi-final series continues on Wednesday, August 10 at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. First to face off are the San Miguel Beermen and the Meralco Bolts at 3 p.m. This will be followed by a matchup between the TNT Tropang Giga and the Magnolia Hotshots at 6 p.m. For News 5, Marty Bautista, We Are One News.
And that's the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more analysis. Ako po si Robbie Alampay.
The big story is also available via Signal Play. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.